5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's weekly Media Roundup 5:45 Live. I'm tonight's host, Roland Boyden. On deck tonight, we'll break down some of the latest on the police fire project in Brattleboro. We've got some new info on the NRC's funding plan approval for VY, and we'll show you some of the fuss from last week's massive awards presentation right here at BCTV in Brattleboro. That was part of our annual meeting last week, and we'll show you plenty more in the coming 15 minutes as well, so stick with us. Welcome back to this October 16th, 2015 edition of 5:45 Live. A brief look there at the lunar eclipse that swept across Brattleboro early this month. That's footage courtesy of James Banslaben, who was up late to get that footage of the lunar eclipse. All right, time to launch into the headlines as promised. Much light was shed on where town officials and board members hope the police fire upgrade project will go next, as the board convened a special meeting late last month to unveil 3 separate options for the once-stalled police fire upgrade project, all of which have reduced scope and cost at their cores, with the most dramatic changes coming in the first of 3 options. Now, that first option would see the municipal center abandoned altogether in favor of moving the police station to the Black Mountain Road space currently occupied by the Brattleboro Reformer. This option would also seek to reduce the Elliott Street Fire Station by shaving off plans for a 3rd floor there. Now, according to a public memo from the town manager's office released in conjunction with that special meeting, the first alternative is projected to be the least expensive. That said, there are 2 other alternatives on the table as well that both look to maintain the police station's location in the municipal center while saving money by reducing overall square footage to the proposed additions. Both alternatives leave plans for a second West Brattleboro Fire Station relatively intact, with a few focused reductions to the proposed central station plans that can be found in both of those other 2 alternatives. Now, for more, here's Peter Elwell, Brattleboro Town Manager, at the board's most recent special meeting on the topic.
So I just want to make sure that the record is very clear tonight that this is about creating the opportunity to move forward, but not actually choosing an alternative at this point, because there is much more review and dialogue yet to go.
All right, time to move on now, talk VY and NRC, and for that we're going to launch into our split screen and head to commonsnews.org for our Commons News Report. Now we're going to highlight an article entitled Feds Approve VY Spent Fuel Plan. NRC staff also affirms approval for using the plan's decommissioning trust fund, and highlight a few quotes here, starting with this one. Fuel management is expected to cost $368 million at Yankee, but the NRC says Entergy has demonstrated reasonable assurance that the funding will be available to maintain the spent fuel plan until the next fuel is transferred to the Department of Energy for permanent disposal. Now, the NRC notes that the company's management plan is based on the assumption that the U.S. Department of Energy will commence acceptance of VY's spent fuel in 2026 and complete the removal of all spent fuel from the site in 2052. Now, this is all a timeline that the article appropriately notes is relatively optimistic. The quote says, "The schedule will seem overly ambitious to many observers given the federal government's lack of progress toward creating a central repository for nuclear waste," and that is kind of the key at the center of all of this talk. Now, for more, you can head to commonsnews.org and check out this very article, or pick up a newspaper. They refresh for free on newsstands each and every Wednesday around town, and community-minded citizens can pick up a paid subscription to help keep afloat this valuable weekly community resource. All right, moving on. The state announced this week its plans to deliver on the estimated $1.2 million needed to repair the town's Elliott Street Bridge, which has been reduced to a hazardously misunderstood 1 lane of traffic for over a year after a sizable hole in the decking of the right-hand lane was discovered by a concerned citizen living in the vicinity. Now, the town's original VTrans grant application to repair the bridge was denied by the state this past summer, but according to Brattown Manager Peter Elwell, the project has now been added to the state's bridge deck replacement program in spite of a lack of any new funding requests submitted to the state by the town. According to DPW Highway and Utilities Superintendent Hannah O'Connell, the construction repairs are slated to commence this coming summer, meaning her department has plenty of work to do to prep for that, including commissioning and selecting repair designs, and sending them out to bid. All right, time to move on here, and for that we're going to talk Act 46, which has everyone in the region all abuzz. Now, smaller school boards and districts across the state have been scrambling since Vermont's legislature passed Act 46 last year, a piece of legislation that seeks to consolidate school boards into larger regional K-12 governing bodies, and something BCTV producer Ian Keel invited WSESU Superintendent of Schools Ron Staley and WSESU Business Manager Frank Rucker to BCTV's downtown studios this week to better explain what this means for educators, administrators, and students at the local level.
I don't think there's a ideal that they're shooting for, but they know that when a system falls below a minimum, it's hard to get the comprehensive programming and accessible to all students in the community. So I think that's part of the thinking.
And you can see that full video this coming week. It'll show on BCTV Channel 10 and be found at BrittleBoroTV.org with WSESU Superintendent of Schools and Business Administrator Ron Staley and Frank Rucker as they talk a little bit about what Act 46 means for the region. All right, now as promised, we'll take a look at BCTV's own awards night held last Thursday in BCTV's very own downtown studios. As some of the station's staff, myself included, handed out 9 gold trophies to honor some of BCTV's stable of hardworking volunteers, as well as community organizations that have made additional strides to produce content with BCTV this past year, like the Dummerston Conservation Commission, Brattleboro Town School Board, and the high school's morning news advisory broadcast program, WSTV. A Community Partner Award of the Year we started 3 years ago, and it's traditionally been given to a larger organization in the community that maybe has individuals and departments there working with BCTV to really come up with some new, unique ways of generating programming. And nobody has served as a better example of that than BUHS TV. And I believe Allison Cram is here.
Hi, I'm Miss Cram.
And I'm Mr. Moore.
And we're part of the BUHS TV television production team.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, September 21st, 2015, and it is a purple day.
It's going to be partly cloudy, which seems like a downer, but look at this weather.
Have a great Friday and a great weekend.
Wait, are you really taking pictures?
Yes.
Oh, wait.
A little clip of BUHS TV's award win this past Thursday at BCTV's annual meeting. You can see all the award wins, our annual montage, which includes highlights from all 1,100 programs produced at BCTV in the past year, all the awards clips for each award winner, and all the rest of the proceedings. A full hour-long BCTV annual meeting video, which can be found at BrittleBoroTV.org, and I'll show this coming week right here on BCTV Channel 8 as well. Now, speaking of BUHS TV, they are back in full swing for a new fall semester schedule that includes Tuesday, Thursday broadcasts and allows us to get a look at the weekend's weather, courtesy of their reports. Let's take a look, guys.
On Saturday, it's going to be partially cloudy, high of 51, low of 29. Sunday, it's going to get really cloudy, high of 47, low of 26. And on Monday, it's going to warm up a bit. It's going to be sunny, high of 50 and a low of 33. And that's all I have for you today, BUHS. Let's go back to the deck.
All right, next up, we're going to talk a BCTV video calendar. This is all sponsored by the Brattleboro Savings and Loan, as their generous contributions to BCTV each year help fund a weekly look at area upcoming events. But we'll start with a flashback to a past event here at BCTV. As hardworking BCTV volunteer and 545 Live correspondent Esler Areste was at the Buddy Walk here in Brattleboro to get this clip.
Well, the Buddy Walk is an event that started back in 1995 by the National Down Syndrome Society to promote inclusion and raise awareness for individuals with Down syndrome. And since then, the walk has grown to over 300 today across the country, and we're one of many walks in the United States. And our goal is to help raise awareness and promote inclusion for individuals of all abilities.
All right, now to move on to upcoming calendar events on our BCTV video calendar sponsored by the Brattleboro Savings and Loan. We'll start tomorrow with the Brooks Memorial Library as they get set to host their 34th annual Design a Plate workshop. Here's the official press release ink on that. Don't miss the 34th annual Design a Plate workshop on Saturday, October 17th at Brooks Memorial Library. Stop in anytime between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to make a 10-inch melamine plate or 20-ounce melamine bowl. The workshop will be held in the meeting room. For more information, you can call the Children's Room at 802-254-5290, extension 110, or visit their website, brookslibraryvt.org/kids. And I'll just say, think Christmas presents when you're thinking about this event. Get the jump on that. All right, time to move on with our calendar here. We'll take you to tomorrow night now as Brattleboro Area Hospice gets set for their annual Cherished Goods fundraiser. It'll be hosted at the VFW on Black Mountain Road here in Brattleboro from 5 to 8 p.m., where you can bid on tons of local donated items, antiques, arts, and crafts, and other goods, including 5 vacation getaways, with all the proceeds benefiting the Brattleboro Area Hospice. That'll give us now an opportunity to take a calendar spotlight video look at Brattleboro Area Hospice right now.
Because we offer all of our services free of charge, and all of our funding comes from local donations as well as the proceeds of experienced goods. We don't have other kinds of federal or governmental funding. In order for us to carry on, we need to know that we have resources going into the future. Longer term, it's a great way to plan for the future of the organization and to ensure that the organization will be there for others out there.
And just to wrap up a few of our calendar items here, a reminder that the Brattleboro Museum and Art Center's new logging-themed special exhibit entitled Shedding Light on the Working Forest, which features paintings by Kathleen Cobb and poems by Veranda Porsche, is open to the public and runs all through this coming weekend as well, so you can check that out again at Brattleboro Museum and Art Center in downtown Brattleboro. All right, that does it for another edition of 545 Live. Thanks for checking in with us here. Be sure to check in with us next week as well as we get set for another live broadcast next week right here on BCTV Comcast Channel 8 at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Fuel management is expected to cost $368 million at Yankee. The NRC says Entergy has demonstrated reasonable assurance that funding, if the wind can keep...